Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jason. I'm your watch guy today. Today I'm reviewing a pretty premium brand. Now I do like to concentrate on the affordable market. However, every now and then I like to look at something that's a little bit more premium, shall we say. Today's review subject is from a brand that produces Swiss-made timepieces. They have British heritage, well, London heritage to be precise. And I think they are producing watches that are of the quality of watches double the price of theirs. Now, that's a big claim, but I think I can back it up in this review. Today I am reviewing the Christopher Ward C60 Trident Pro 600. Bit of a mouthful, I'll say that much. However, it is an amazing watch for the price that they put these out at. This one can be picked up on the Christopher Ward website for around £845. I think it's £845. I will correct myself if I'm wrong. This has been sent to me by Christopher Ward to review. I don't get to keep it, and this is a full and honest, unbiased review, as always. So, with that all out of the way, I've linked them in the description if you want to pick one up. Let's turn this camera around and let's get into the review. Now, you're probably looking at your screen right now thinking that you've clicked onto the wrong video or switched video halfway through. But don't worry, this is still the same channel, same video. This is my TAG Hoya Formula 1. It's probably one of my favourite pieces in my collection. However, it is also probably one of the most overpriced pieces in my collection. These retail around the £1,000 mark. So, why do I like it so much? It's because it has a really premium feel to it. It's because the finishing on it is absolutely stunning. And when you slip it on wrist, it just feels like it should be there. It feels like it's meant to be on your wrist. And that is one of my favourite things about it. It makes me feel right. It makes me feel good about the thing that I've got on. Now, why am I talking to you about my TAG Heuer in this Christopher Ward review, you'll say? Well, that's because this watch actually comes in at just under what that one will retail at. This comes in at £845, so it's cheaper. It's also packed with a much better movement, and the finishing on it is absolutely sublime. I'd say it's on par with the TAG, if not slightly better. And when you take all of that into account, you're starting to think, why would anyone pick the TAG Heuer over this? I don't know. I really don't know. So this is the Christopher Ward C60 Trident Pro 600. It's packed with a Sellita SW201 movement, and it is Swiss made. It comes from a British company, Christopher Ward. They have been around for a little while now, and I don't think we can still call them a micro brand. So I think they've kind of moved on from that type of status. This is, to me, more of a tool watch than it is a dive watch. They do brand it as their dive watch. It is 40mm in diameter. I do believe you can get these in different sizes. However, they've sent me the 40mm. And to be honest, I think the way that this is worn and the way that this feels when I wear it, it's absolutely perfect for me. It is 13.2mm thick. Lug to lug, it is 47.5mm. And these lugs are 20mm. The dimensions on this watch are very important because it does wear so nicely. It's so comfortable on wrist. It's just a pleasure to have on. It is built fully in 316L stainless steel, and there's a mixture of finishing around the casing. As you can see around the casing here, we have some really nice mixtures of polished and brushed finishing, some chamfered edges here and here. It really does bring down the actual visible thickness of this casing. 13.2mm thick is quite a big watch, or it's coming into a bigger territory of watches. However, with the way that they've cut the profile in here, it looks so much slimmer. It looks like it's almost 12mm. It looks like it's moving towards a dress style watch, to be honest. It's just, yeah, it's great how they've done that case, and I'm very impressed by it. As we move around to this side here, we do have a screw down crown on this case here. Really smooth action on it too. As I pull it out, you can see that first interaction is the date, second is the time setting. As I say, really, really smooth action on that crown. That's something that they've noted in their description on the website, that the crown is much improved, that the action in the crown is much improved. We have really subtle crown guards to this side of the case, and they are also mirror polished, which is a really nice effect. The crown is actually quite substantial in comparison to the case. It stands off the case quite well and makes a presence of itself. It is signed with the Christopher Ward logo on the back there. I like how the lugs really do protrude to the bracelet. They come out to meet this bracelet very well, and the chamfered polished edges really add to the design of the case. It makes these lugs look much thinner than they actually are. As we move to the back of the case, we have the Christopher Ward Trident in the centre. We also have a little bit of information around the edge. The polished Trident accents that sandblasted finish very, very well, I think. A nice little feature that we have here is the cutouts around the edge of the case back. It is obviously a screw down case back. It really does decorate the case back very well, in my opinion. Now, possibly one of my favourite features of this watch, and probably my favourite story to go along with this watch, is this bezel. So this is a 120 click unidirectional bezel. It has a 15-minute dive indicator on it. These are also loomed markings on this bezel. They accent that blue really well in this white. They stand out quite nicely, and the blue on this bezel is absolutely fantastic. You probably think that it's going to be a ceramic bezel. Well, in some respects, you would be right. It is ceramic. However, it is actually made from a substance called zirconia ceramic, which is a much improved ceramic. It's much harder, much more resilient in nature. That little piece of quality added to the material of this really does make me feel like this is a premium piece, that they've really pushed the boat out on this piece. It's a really nice tooth style bezel on this one. Just listen to that click. Literally zero play in that bezel. Feels so nice. It's got this really nice tool style click to the bezel. Now, my favourite story about this watch is that Christopher Ward actually went around a lot of manufacturers or a lot of dealers and recorded the sounds of bezels or the bezel click to find the perfect one for their watch, and then this is what they came up with. Once again, such a satisfying click on this bezel. I really do enjoy that. Now, just for clarification, I can't confirm that story. I did hear it on a podcast a while ago, and I've just kind of ran with it. So if that's not true, then I apologise, but I really do like that story. Finishing off this casing, we have this really nice sapphire crystal. It is flat, but it does protrude from the actual bezel itself, which is nice to see. As you see here, it stands out from the bezel. This bezel really does have a dome type of effect to it. I love the blue on this watch. It's just absolutely outstanding. Catches the light so well. Now, before we move into the casing, let's talk about the water resistance on this watch. 600 meters water resistance with a profile like this. That's absolutely amazing. That's why this is a dive watch. Obviously, it's very suited to being in the water. It would make the perfect dive watch. However, I'd never take this type of thing into the water. I think this should just be sat pretty on my wrist. Now, as we move into the dial itself, you can see that it actually reflects the light very well, almost like the bezel does. That's because it's a lacquered dial to give it that type of effect. And it's in this absolutely awesome royal blue colour. I absolutely love the colour on this watch. It's fantastic. They do offer in different colour options. They have a black, and I've also seen a red bezel with a black dial. Now, before receiving this one from Christopher Ward, I would have said that I'd probably pick up the red with black dial, just because that looks the best in the pictures. But after seeing this one, it just reflects the light so well. I think this could be the one to go for. We have applied indices around the dial. They are all lumed and they have a really nice stainless steel effect border on them with that almost polished type of edge to it. They do come down to meet the dial very nicely with those cut-offs at the edge. We have a printed white minute track around the edge of the dial, and down at the 6 o'clock here, either side of the 6 o'clock indice, we have a Swiss made print showing off the Swiss made movement in the back of this watch. Over at the 3 o'clock, we have the date window, which is surrounded in a white print. Now, I'm not always a fan of that white surround on a date window. However, I think this one actually goes quite well with the dial. I think they've done quite well here. It accents that black date window very well. Another thing is the colour match date window. Well, it's not colour match because it's not blue, but the fact that they've chosen the black variants instead of the white shows that they wanted to make this a little bit more subtle against the dial. Below the double baton indice at the 12 o'clock, we have the Christopher Ward logo. Now that is embossed in another blue print. It's a matte blue type of effect to it, and it really does accent the dial well. Over here at the 9, we have the Christopher Ward logo print, or the font. And down here at the 6, we have the automatic print with the 600 meters below it. Now, I know not everyone's going to be a fan of this Christopher Ward logo at the 9 o'clock, and I will come back to that in the moan section. Moving on to this handset, we have a really nice sword style minute hand that reaches all the way out to the edge of the indices on this dial. The hour hand is a really broad triangular hand. These are both lumed with stainless steel borders. They have a really nice finish on the edge of the borders. This second hand really is a feature to me because of this trident at the counterbalance of it. We have a lollipop second hand with a needle finish to it, but this counterbalance trident really does steal the show for me. It's absolutely brilliant, and I love the way that it plays into the design of this watch. The second hand does have a Lume pip on the lollipop second. Speaking of the Lume, let's get into the Lume shot. I'm sure you'll all be curious to see how this stands up. So as you can see, the Lume is already pretty bright on this one. We have a fully lumed bezel and Lume on all the indices on the dial, as well as the minute, hour and second hand. Let's see how it performs after a little blast of UV. This is actually Super Luminova Lume. It is grade X1 GLC1, I believe. Look at that, that's fantastic. Now, sometimes my camera is a little bit complementary to Lume shots, in my opinion. However, this one, in actual person, is fantastic. It just, yeah, it's insane how good that Lume is. It's spread fairly evenly across all of the indices and the markers. And that, the Lume on the bezel is brilliant. It's brighter than many that I've ever seen. I'm actually really impressed by it. So let's move on to the bracelet of this watch. Now, you can pick these up with other band options and they're slightly cheaper. However, I would much advise you to go for this bracelet. And if you want to swap it out later, swap it out then. I really do like this bracelet. It's very comfortable on wrist. Very comfortable to wrist. It has a brushed finish throughout. It's an oyster style bracelet. And we have a very secure double pusher clasp on this one. It is a milled clasp and it has the Christopher Ward logo engraved just there. We have the Christopher Ward logo also engraved here. It is not a screw link bracelet, however, it is pin and collar, I believe. We also have quick release bars on this bracelet, which makes it very easy to change your strap out. I'm not going to do that for you on camera because it's an absolute nightmare for me to get them back in. Another nice addition to this bracelet is the ratchet extension on it. Makes it really easy for on-the-fly type of adjustment. And it's actually served me quite well over the last week. Really good action on it, very secure. I was really impressed with it when I got it out of the box and used that. It gives you a really, really nice fit on wrist. We do have male end links on this, which does extend the lug-to-lug capability of the watch. However, as we move into this little wrist shot here, you can see that they actually curve very nicely to the wrist, which means it's actually really easy to wear. It adds to the wearability slightly. And as I said in the introduction, the way that the Tag Heuer Formula 1 wears is what makes me such a big fan of it. And it's exactly the same for this watch. It looks great on wrist, but it also feels great. It wears so well to wrist. I'm very impressed by it. Now, that's not to say that I don't have any improvements or moans about this watch. As I say, this is a completely unbiased review, and I will be pointing out any downsides to it. First downside I would point out is those quick release bars. I'm a fan of how easy they are to use. Obviously, it makes it much easier to swap in between bracelets and straps, etc. However, you do feel the bars on your wrist if you wear this tight. It's a gripe that I've had with the Zelos quick releases also. It's just a little bit annoying, and it can sort of dig into your wrist a little bit. Another thing I would have liked on this is mid-size links, just to get a nicer fit to your wrist. Yeah, I would have liked that. Finally, the moan that a lot of people have and a lot of people mentioned on the unboxing of this watch, and one that I expected, the Christopher Ward logo at 9 o'clock. Now, personally, it's kind of grown on me and I kind of like it. However, I understand why people don't, and if you haven't got this on wrist and you haven't really experienced it yet, it will probably be something that puts you off a little bit. However, what I would say is that it is something I get used to. Maybe Christopher Ward in the future will adapt the logo a little bit more. They have done that in the past, so it would be nice to see them listen to the critiques of this watch and, you know, improve it further, because they do have an outstanding watch on their hands here. In fact, I'd go as far to say that this is probably the best diver that I've had in for review under £1,000. I just think it's absolutely incredible. It outdoes any of the Tag Heuers that I've had on the channel. It outdoes a lot of the Swiss watches that I've had on the channel. Honestly, I get the same sort of quality feeling from this that I got from the Oris Aquastate. And that's one of my favourite things that I've reviewed. So props to Christopher Ward, because they've created something absolutely incredible here. And they put it out at what's probably quite an affordable price. So guys, that is the Christopher Ward C60 Trident Pro 600. It has impressed me so much that I've actually set up my results search on eBay for one of these, and I will definitely be looking out for the sale that Christopher Ward have on every now and then. This is just for the price that you're paying for this watch. I don't think you understand how much quality you're actually getting. Someone in the comments actually said that they thought that they were overpriced, and I can't tell you how wrong that comment is. As I say, I think that the Tag Heuer Formula 1 that I have is probably one of the most overpriced watches in my collection. However, it is still an amazingly finished watch, and it gives you that perfect wearability on wrist. And this blows it out of the water. It really does. I'd pick this up before that any day, in fact. I just think it's outstanding for the price. As I say, this is the type of quality that I felt when I reviewed the Oris Aquastate. So, yeah, I think it's probably the best diver that I've seen under £1,000. If you think I'm wrong, then please do correct me, but I haven't seen anything better at this point. Thank you for watching this, guys. If you are interested in picking one of these watches up or having a look at what Christopher Ward offer, I've linked them in the description. Please do go have a look. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. We are picking up subscribers like it's not on lately. We're on 3,300. Incredible. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.